So we are live now.
Namaste. I, on behalf of Mokshayatan Yog Sansthan, welcome you all to second session of the day one of Global Yoga Conference. Today we are honored to have among us Dr. Comal Chand Radhakisson from Mauritius. Dr. Comal Chand Radhakisson studied Ayurveda as an ICCR scholar from 1992 to 98 at Ayurvedic and Tibia College, University of Delhi, India. He hold an MSc in Health Services Management with distinction of University of Technology, Mauritius. In 2019, Dr. Komal Chandra Radhakisson being conferred by Government of Mauritius the Commander of Star and Key of India Ocean, the third highest civilian Mauritius National Award for his significant contribution in Ayurveda and social work in Mauritius. He has been participated Ayurveda since 1999 and is presently working as Ayurvedic medical officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Government of Mauritius. He is also a president of Association of Ayurvedic Physicians. Before I request Dr. Radhakisson ji to kindly deliver his session of Yoga of Humanity, we have among us our Guruji and Director of Mokshayatan Yog Sansthan, Adarnya Acharya Pratishtha ji. I request Guruji kindly welcome Dr. Radhakisson ji and say few words.
Thank you, Richa. We are really honored to have among us Dr. Komal Chand Radhakisson from Mauritius, who is the president of the Association of Ayurvedic Physicians in Mauritius. And the scope of work and the work he has done is immense. I have witnessed his work myself during my special deputation in Mauritius as a senior diplomat, and we have worked closely for the promotion and propagation of yoga and Ayurveda in Mauritius. Since the objective of this Global Yoga Conference is to bring the world together, and such is the message of yoga. Yoga means to unite. And through this Global Yoga Conference, we have united so many people together, 14 speakers from different corners of the world and worldwide. This is on telecast, and people are witnessing these sessions. I would just request everyone not only to listen these sessions, but to learn and to adapt what is taught in these sessions so that they have a better life and they have a healthy and happy life. Without taking much time between our eminent speaker, Dr. Radhakisson, and the listeners, I would just request Dr. Saab to kindly begin with his session.
धन्यवाद आचार्य प्रतिष्ठा जी. Respected Swami Bharat Bhushan ji, Acharya Pratishtha ji, distinguished guests, friends of yoga, Director of ICCR, Dr. Ishwar Basava Reddy, Director of Moraji Desai, National Institute of Yoga. With much honor, we have the Secretary of Ayush Ved Kotechaji, and all friends from Mauritius and abroad who are listening us through the media, web TV or Facebook Live. I convey my greetings to you and a very sadar namaste to all of you. I thank the Mokshayatam Yog Sansthan for having given me this opportunity to share my presentation on this year's topic, which is Yoga for Humanity, Yoga and Humanity, that is Yoga for Humanity. I seize this occasion to congratulate the organizers for the very beautiful inauguration session, and I wish them plenty of success for the whole week of yoga celebration across India and across the globe. My expose will mainly be focused on the importance of Yam and Niyam and Dhyan, which are the three important pillars, main pillars in bringing happiness among us, the human beings, and our environment. The teaching of Yog Darshan, have always been marveled by the whole world, may it be the culture of the East or of the West. Yog, by its definition, which indicates unity, union, join, it speaks volumes in itself. The union of any two entities should have mutual understanding between each other. Human being is a bundle of good and bad characteristics. The good characteristics are always underneath. The bad traits usually cover the outer surface of human nature, made with the physical body, the five sensory senses, our mind, or even sometimes we may call the soul also. Yoga teaches us how to erase the bad habits which tends to predominate human nature. And yoga has devised a series of activities, process, procedures to bring balance between the internal and external consciousness. Yoga also means self study, one's own behavior, to aware that one is part of higher and the supreme consciousness. Hence, yoga enhances one's personality in the physical, in the spiritual, in the psychic, and in the emotional plane. We normally, when we speak of yoga, we have reference to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that is of Samadhipat Yogascha Chit Vritti Nirodha. That is a restriction of the vibration or oscillation or fluctuation of the mind. Yoga is a very scientific system which endeavors the to transform human animalistic behavior or nature into that of a much refined human being, and it helps us to make aware of our inner being, and thus gearing us towards a direct connectivity with the supreme uh, energy that is God, and hence help us in the spiritual pathway. Here, when we speak of yoga for humanity, or for human, how yoga can be helpful for humanity, there's a very beautiful mantra in Rig Ved, Mandal 10, Sukta 53, and Mantra 6, which beautifully explains that we must strive to become human being and raise ourselves toward the divine. Here, I will only going to quote the translation of this mantra. May you, spinning the thread of divine knowledge, follow the splendid light of the illuminator and protect the pathways well, which have been constructed by sacred act and divine wisdom. May you render the pious work of worshipper free from defect. May you first strive to become human being, that is man, and then rise the status to an enlightened one, the divine. That is, this mantra of Rigved tell us to become Manur Bhava. We have to become human being. And to become human being, we have the guidelines of these mantras can be fulfilled and implemented by one and only process, which is Yog Darshan. Patanjali Yog Darshan states it provides human being with a very robust base to lead a life in communion with nature and be in concordance with the fellow human beings. Now, I will try to explain the effects and the benefits of the yam and niyam along with dhyan. Now, when we have yam, it is a moral. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra state that ahimsa satya aste brahmacharya aparigraha yama. It means that ahimsa satya aste brahmacharya and parigraha are form of five different components of yam. It is a moral code that helps us to be in harmony with the environment we are living. It brings in synergy in one social interaction. It can be equated to social discipline as well as social ethics. As we have seen, there are five yams, that is ahimsa, non-violence and kindness; satya, truthfulness; aste, honesty and non-stealing; aparigraha, non-possessiveness and generosity; brahmacharya, sensual abstinence and to be moderate towards materialistic life. Let's see the ahimsa. Ahimsa, feeling of non-violence towards all things from thoughts, words, and deeds. It decreases the violence in the environment. It creates a sense of love, compassion, non-violence, absence of enmity, hostility, and harm. Absence of harmful intention, create magnetic personality, able to influence anybody who comes into contact with him. He creates a network of friendship and goodwill around himself. The second component of yam is satya, which is truthfulness. It involves our thoughts, words. It involves our thoughts, words, and deeds eventually. And we must be truthful at all levels. One must be true to oneself. And when the sadhak is established in truthfulness in whatever circumstances, like universal law, irrespective of time, place, birth, then he again what is called divine buddhi in himself. He is able to reap the fruits of karma as per his wish, and his speech reflects the truth. Speak golden words, and result of our action follow from him his will. That is, the result of his action follow from his will. Stay honesty, which is now a very major pathological condition in our world, where we always hear about corruption. So stay helps us to abstain from stealing, have simple and sincere life, allow to harvest all the gems of life, develop the power of clairvoyance and intuitive awareness. Swami Sivananda was able to know how much wealth an approaching person had. This is what people narrate. This is intuitive awareness is possible due to the unconditional universal honesty, which is aimed is to render the entire life clean in order to have a pure, stain-free personality. Then we have aparigra, non-possessiveness, a result of developing detachment, caring about property but not addicted to them. It is a procedure to develop detachment, steadiness, and non-possessiveness enables one to know his previous and next birth, and it is one of the essential virtues to establish happiness. Today, all the war, all the conflict that we are having is due to possessiveness. And if we try to detach ourselves, all the war and conflicts will never naturally end up, and the human being, the humanity, will be at peace. Brahmacharya, being established in higher reality, one being firmly established in brahmacharya, and it is abstinence from sensual acts, and it's also a controlled way of living. I will quote from the 4 chapters of freedom, where if the external action are not harmonious, then the mind will be disturbed. And on the other hand, the disturbed mind will tend to produce this harmonious action. And here we have Swami Paramahansa Satyanand in his 4 chapters of freedom. The rules of yam and niyam are designed to reduce friction between one's outer and inner attitude. There is a two-way relationship. The mind stimulates external action, and the external action stimulates the mind. And if the external action are not harmonious, then the mind will be disturbed. On the other hand, a disturbed mind will tend to produce disharmonious action. He also states that the rules are not easy to apply, but a limited action will bring greater peace of mind in its continuous process. Now we come to the second part of the Ashtanga Yoga, that is known as Niyam. And here also Niyam has 5 components. Soch, Santosh, Tap, Swadhyay, Ishwar, Pranidhanya are the Niyam. These are special codes of self-restraint, that is internal discipline, aimed at internal discipline and perfection. There are 5 components. Soch, which means purity, Santosh, contentment, Tap, austerity, Swadhyay, self-study, and Ishwar, Pranidhanya, surrender to God. During the past 2 years, we all have had to face COVID-19, where we all had to re-educate ourselves towards these 5 niyam, to content what we have, to keep clean, purity, to do tap, to work hard, and to self-study, to know ourselves, and also to surrender ourselves to God. And cleanness of the body, both internal and external neatness, in order of our environment, purification of mind. We have been doing this during since time immemorial. Bharat Mata has taught us how to make ourselves and external our environment clean by the practice of daily Agnihotra and Yaj, and to keep ourselves clean both mentally and physically. Santosh, contentment, is a very great virtue to bring human being at peace and to enhance humanity. In being satisfied with what one has, this develops as one demand is lessened and life is geared towards simple and contented life. We avoid greed. To accept the result of our efforts, whether it is profit or loss, happiness comes from the practice of contentment. And today, we are all facing that lack of contentment. If we are having a big bank balance, we are not happy. We're having two cars, not happy. We're having two houses, we are not happy. And this lack of contentment leads to a lot of conflict and mental stress, and that deprive human beings to know it's himself and to know his inner nature. We have top austerity. The practice of austerities, impurities are destroyed and there come perfection in the body and sense organ. Simple life helps us to cope with hardship. This is extra effort that we have to do, especially in this condition facing COVID-19, international conflicts, wars, where we have to work hard to make ourselves happy. Swadhyay, self-study, to analyze one's own personality with the help of sacred scriptures, to create awareness about strength, weakness, ambition, and needs with Swan technique. To self-observation, the connectivity which is desired deity is brought about. Swadhyay means closing the eyes and observing one's own self as in antalmon. When it is practiced, it gives rise to a faculty which one is able to concentrate deeply, and the one and the only is to concentrate on God. This self-study is not merely to recite mantras or to study scriptures, but is to reflect on it so as to become a refined character which make one noble. Ishwar Pranidhar is to surrender to God, to believe in the hierarchy. Success in trance comes by complete resignation to God, a condition where the sadhak loses body awareness and embarks in deeper awareness, improves, and remains in a state of complete tranquility and union. Now, the channels for good and bad deeds to make you become a noble human being or perfect, not to reach perfection in humanity. The body channels are to protect, donate, and serve. The bad are cruel, violence, stealing, perverted sexual acts. So these are bad traits. These are inhuman. Speech, to speak truth, blessing speech, loving speech, self-study. When you speak lie, this is not human. It's not good for humanity. Harsh speech, gossiping, incoherent speech. What you think, you don't do. What you do, what you say, you don't practice. These are incoherent speeches. Mental consciousness, compassion, absence of greed, devotion. There is a lack. There is a complete lack in our society. This is why yoga can help us to bring these good traits in us. Non-belief in God. Today, all the countries which do not believe in God suffer a lot. And Bharat Mata has been lucky, we can say, that always people believe in God in whatever form they are. And this is why Bharat Mata is progressing at a very high speed. And always those who look down on people, these are bad traits. These hinder the emancipation of humanity. And possessiveness. Possessiveness and lack of sharing will definitely lead to war, conflict, and jealousy. This we have to avoid. Now, the benefits of yam and niyam, it harmonize the social interaction, yam, harmonize inner feelings, niyam, reduce friction of outer action and inner attitude, help to keep the mind peaceful, stable, clean, and clear, initiation towards self-realization, keep the body and mind healthy and disease-free, is able to associate and work for noble cause, creation of a noble society. One aspect that we have that make us also helps the humanity is dhyan, meditation. Dhyan, contemplate, reflect, and think or occupy in thoughts. The incessant flow of attention on concentrated object is called dhyan, as per Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The benefits of dhyan, that is the therapeutic effects, it's calm the mind, which is much needed. People are facing a lot of stress due to lot of use of technological materials, erasing negative thoughts, fear, stress, and anxiety. We all have been undergoing undue fear, stress, and anxiety due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It helps to make you a charming and magnetic personality, positive outlook, clarity of thought, which will help the students and people who are working powerfully speech, good behavior, the strong healthy body, and rejuvenating tool. Now, apart from Yam Niyam Dhyan, Yoga teaches what we call Chit Prasadhan, and it refers to Samadhi Pad Sutra 33, where Maitri Karuna Mundito Pekshanam Sukha Dukh Punya Apunya Vishenam Bhavantas Chit Prasadhanam. Here, if we translate this sutra, the mind becomes clarified by cultivating attitude of friendliness, compassion, gladness, and indifference, respectively, towards happiness, misery, virtue, and vice. All these attributes of Chit Prasanam, where your mind, your Chit, will be present, will be happy, make the human, make us human, and lead us towards a noble cause for humanity. So the different part of Maitri, that is friendship, compassion, gladness, this we have to cultivate, and this starts from a very young age. To conclude on this chapter of yoga and humanity, yoga practice is a God-gifted bliss for the whole humanity. It is our duty to practice it as prescribed in the Shastras. We shall refrain to practice yoga in bits and parcel, which is a common practice nowadays. Along, we have to look yoga in a holistic way. Along with asana, pranayam, pratyahar, yam, niyam, dhyan, and the elements of chit prasadhanam are equally important to have a holistic yoga practical effect, so as to make us manur bhava, to make us human being. We strive to be human being and make the a whole, a whole world noble. I hope this was a part of my expose, and I wish every one of you a very happy Yog Divas for the 21st of June 2022. And we hope the teaching of Yog will make the whole world noble, as well as now it's time we gear ourselves to more human values and to make our people throughout the globe enjoy the happiness and bliss of yoga. Thank you very much. Namaste. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Dr. Saab, for this wonderful session and this wonderful presentation. I'm sure everybody who has joined this session would would have got benefit, and these sessions will stay forever um, on these platforms, so everyone can get benefit out of it even after the session is over. I am again thankful to Dr. Kumachand Radhakisson for accepting our invitation and for being a part of this beautiful yoga